So Jonathan, what was the big surprise for you in today's budget?
Well, the TFSA, the tax-free savings account, which the government's billing as sort of the biggest thing since the RRSP, like an RSP, it encourages savings, but it's not aimed at retirement. It's aimed at allowing you to save for anything, like starting a business. So if you can be just 18 years old, put $5,000 aside for 5 years, not be taxed on the interest, start your business, or consumption. You want to buy a new car, you want to. The other good thing about it is, unlike an RSP, where you get a tax deduction, you don't get a tax deduction going in, but when it comes out, particularly if you're a senior person who is worried about having clawbacks of old age security or the guaranteed income supplement, that you'd actually be able to pull this out and not be penalized for that, or some other government sort of means test benefits. So it's actually good for a lot of people from across society.
But very basically, how does this thing work? Is it like an account where I would buy any sort of securities, GICs, you name it, and then have it registered with the government as this designated tax-free savings account so that whatever gains I generate in that account would be tax-free when I take the money out?
Yeah, it's exactly like the RSP. It'll be administered by credit unions and banks and the mutual fund companies, etc. It's just another account you open as long as you're 18. You can contribute $5,000 a year. Now, I think that it'll be oriented to two things: interest income, which is highly taxed otherwise and not taxable, or foreign dividends, which are also taxed at the top rate. For Canadian dividends, I think you're still better off just taking the dividend tax credit and holding them in a non-registered plan, or using the RRSP, a traditional vehicle.
You mentioned fixed income people. Does that have some political implications then? Is this geared towards addressing, say, the opposition's view on things?
I would think the Liberals would be hard-pressed to argue this is a bad thing, because one of their constituencies would be the elderly poor. The elderly poor have been discouraged from saving with an RSP, because when an RSP grows up and you want to pull money out of it, it is taxed again. And that means you lose your guaranteed income supplement, and you might even get the old age security benefits clawed back. In the States, they have something called the Roth plan. This is the Roth plan in Canada, which is optimum for that particular elderly person who wasn't motivated to save. But it's also good for more affluent people who are saving or wanting to consume, or they just want to rack up a little more fixed income. As the boomers get older, for example, they're going to be moving more and more to fixed income. So it's great to have another vehicle, albeit only $5,000 a year, that shelters that highly taxed interest income.
Now, is this good news for the financial community? I mean, if this is another way Canadians can put their money aside and put their money in investments in Bay Street and so on, that's got to be good news for them, eh?
Yeah, now the people who are like the real estate people who are looking for this big capital gains relief that got the Conservatives in the power in the first place, they're going to be disappointed. Okay. $5,000 a year is not like sheltering a condo flip, and the people are really excited about that. Those people will be disappointed, relatively speaking. But I think the average financial advisor is going to be happy, because they always love these new things. Every time, now we have an RSP and we have an RESP and the disability savings plan, and the more complex it is, the more there's a reason for them to hire out their services and tell the great unwashed what to do. So now they can...
Journalists too, I think.
It gives us something to write about, and in that, hats off to the Tories.